Pakistan's perspective of the recent conflict with India and the path forward. I'm sorry to disappoint you. I have no pictures and slides to show you today. But all jokes aside, May 7th this year, India launched illegal strikes within Pakistan in violation of the UN Charter, in violation of international law. They targeted civilian infrastructure, they targeted religious worship places, they targeted dam, water and energy infrastructure, and innocent civilians, women and children, lost their lives. India used as a premise for this attack the terrorist attack that took place in Indian-occupied Kashmir a couple of weeks earlier. We express our sympathy with the victims of terrorism, and Pakistan has consistently and unequivocally condemned terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. Immediately following this terrorist attack, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Shehbaz Sharif, offered publicly to India and the international community that Pakistan was ready to be part of any impartial international investigation into this terrorist attack. We did so because we were confident, our hands are clean, and we had nothing to do with this terrorist attack. The Indian government refused Pakistan's offer and chose instead to conduct their illegal strikes. Pakistan only ever acted in self-defense. We never initiated any violence against India. On the first night, when their planes attacked our country, Pakistan's military responded with precision. They only targeted and downed 6 planes because we believed those 6 planes were the ones who released their load on Pakistan. Following that, the Indian government, in the next 2 days, launched missile strikes into Pakistani territory, and as a response to that, Pakistan responded in kind. Due to the intervention of the international community, and I'd like here particularly to mention the role of the US President Donald Trump and his team led by Secretary of State Rubio, we did manage to achieve a ceasefire between India and Pakistan. This is a welcome first step, but it is only a first step. I must emphasize that the global community today is less safe post this ceasefire, post this conflict in India, than we were before. And that's simply because the threshold for a full-blown military conflict between 2 nuclear-armed states has come down, has not gone up. We've seen during the course of this conflict how quickly the escalation ladder between our two countries rose, and the concern is that the next time there is such an incident, there may not be time for the international community to intervene before things get a lot worse. That is why it is absolutely important for Pakistan, but for the international community by and large, to continue to pursue dialogue and diplomacy as the only viable path to peace. Pakistan's position today is that we would like to have a comprehensive dialogue with India that of course discusses the issue of terrorism. Pakistan is a victim of terrorism. The single largest number of terrorist attacks that takes place in any one country is Pakistan. The single largest number of victims of terrorism is Pakistan. I myself have suffered at the hands of terrorists. My mother, Shaheed Mohtarma Benazir Bhutto, who was assassinated by terrorists. The military leadership in Pakistan, the political leadership in Pakistan, Pakistan as a country, is not the caricature that India would like to paint of us. The political leadership have fought against these beasts, these terrorists on the front line, and we've paid a heavy cost in that battle. Our military leadership has fought these beasts on the battlefield. They've earned their honors and their titles and their promotions as a result of the taking them on in South Waziristan, taking them on in North Waziristan. Last time I was here before you, I was the foreign minister of Pakistan. Pakistan managed to go through the FATF process. And we had the FATF as an organization endorse that Pakistan has taken the appropriate measures for CT, for combating terror financing. It has become too easy internationally for hegemons, wannabe hegemons, to use the whistle of terrorism to justify illegal actions, to justify violent actions in Muslim countries, Muslim communities. You cannot take on terrorism, you cannot combat terrorism if you're going to use it as a political tool to demonize the Muslims within your own country, a political tool to demonize the Muslims in Indian-occupied Kashmir, and as a political tool to demonize your neighbor. Pakistan would still like to cooperate with India to combat terrorism. We can't leave the fate of 1.5, 1.7 billion people in the hands of non-state actors and terrorists. For them to decide at a whim that two nuclear-armed powers will go to war. And this is the new normal or the new abnormal that the Indian government is trying to impose on the region. That if there's a terrorist attack anywhere in India, anywhere in Indian-occupied Kashmir, it means war with Pakistan. And reciprocity would mean that any terrorist attack in Pakistan, particularly given our long list of complaints about Indian involvement in Balochistan and Pakhtunkhwa with the BLA, with the war with India, that is untenable. You can't have no dispute resolution mechanisms between two nuclear-armed countries. In addition to a dialogue on terrorism, where hopefully we're able to agree to some sort of mechanism, where if India has any complaints or Pakistan has any complaints, we should be able to bring those complaints to a mutually agreed forum, where we work together to identify the terrorists, to track the terrorists, and deliver justice to the victims of terrorism. To ensure that we cooperate to address this issue, rather than as a knee-jerk reaction go to war. In addition to this, obviously, there's a root cause. And in this case, the root cause of terrorism in Indian-occupied Kashmir is the unresolved agenda of Kashmir before the United Nations Security Council. There are promises that we made as an international community to the people of Kashmir, that India made to the people of Kashmir, and those promises are still not kept. If we're going to continue to ignore this issue and allow that wound to fester, there will forever be a bone of contention between India and Pakistan. In addition to Kashmir, the most recent front that India has opened in the context of this crisis is the weaponization of water. The violation of the Indus Water Treaty by the Indian government must be condemned across the board. We cannot allow this precedent to be set. The mere threat to cut off the water supply for 200 million people is a violation of the UN Charter. Acting on this threat would be seen as an act of war by Pakistan. This is not something I say with any pleasure. Pakistan does not seek to be in this position. But I ask any country that if their lifeline was being cut off, if their water supply was being cut off, how would they react? The weaponization of water, given the challenges of climate change, the water scarcity that we anyway face in Pakistan, is something that surely no civilized country can endorse, no civilized country must allow for this precedent to take root. The Pakistani delegation today is concluding our trip here to New York and our engagements at the United Nations, where we engage with various representatives of different countries and obviously of the United Nations, including the UN Secretary General, the President of the UN, the Security Council, E10 Group, and others, where Pakistan has appealed to the international community to assist us in our pursuit for peace. Just as the international community played its role in encouraging India to agree to a ceasefire, the international community must play its role in encouraging India to engage in a comprehensive dialogue with Pakistan so that we can address our issues and achieve peace. In conclusion, and before I take your questions, I'd like to know that India likes to present itself as a net security provider. The United States subsidizes the Indian economy, the Indian military, on the basis that it's to be a net security provider. India's actions have shown, as a result of this conflict, that they are a source of insecurity, not a source of security for the region. The true net security provider for our region and beyond will be peace between India and Pakistan. The President of the United States has a unique opportunity to deliver on his commitment to peace within the context of India and Pakistan. The United States enjoys good relations with Pakistan and enjoys good relations with India. From tomorrow, we will be starting our engagements in DC, where we'll be engaging with representatives of the United States government, of the United States Parliament, and we will be seeking to encourage the United States and other international players to play their role to facilitate this process. I thank you, and I look forward to taking your questions.